Ding dong YouTube! Welcome back to the channel, The Professional Nerd here, and today I'm going to be talking about the problem with Indeed Jobs. Now overall, the website is actually a very good resource. In fact, it's regarded as one of the best resources on the internet for finding work, but it does have some flaws and issues that I think could be addressed and bugs that could maybe be fixed that would make it an even better resource for those who are in the market of currently looking for work. Now, if you don't know what Indeed Jobs is, or maybe you've never heard of it, that's totally fine. I'm not going to make any joke about you living under the rock for the past 10 years, but it was basically a website that was launched in 2004 for the purpose of helping people find work. And so employers can go on and post job postings, as well people that are seeking job opportunities can go and post their resume and search through a list of indexes of all the jobs that are currently available. Now, the first problem with Indeed actually has nothing to do with the website or the software, the way it's built or developed at all, or the way it works and operates. It mostly has to do with the way that culture, this mentality of society, has actually shifted because of resources such as Indeed and Glassdoor and all these other different job posting websites on the internet. And that deals with the fact that there used to be a point in time, a point in history, that you could actually print off your resume, go to a business, hand it to the guy at the front desk, and maybe talk to see the general manager at the back, and that actually showed initiative that you were able and willing to work at that company, and that you were actually there in person to prove it to them. And for the large part, that doesn't really happen anymore today, because a lot of the businesses now have transitioned to this online model, this online approach for applying for jobs. And so you can go on Indeed and shoot off 100 resumes in a day to various different companies, and then the chances of you hearing back from any one of them is now less, because you haven't actually been able to show them anything more than just your resume. It's not like you're there in person trying to prove to them, hey, look at me and I'm here ready to work. Now, in some cases, that approach to finding employment may actually still be viable, but only under certain circumstances. And so, for example, the circumstances I'm thinking of are small towns and small businesses. And so I come from a small town where a lot of people know each other. It's basically everybody knows everybody, they're neighbors with everybody. And so by taking your resume in person to a business, then it actually does show initiative and show that you're committed and able to work for this company. And then you may have a good chance of working there as well, because you have these connections with people that you know in the small town. Also at small companies, maybe, because then it shows that that you're willing to actually work for them. And some of these small companies, they may not have the resources available to staff some huge online database of job applications and all of the work that needs to be done to sort through the applications. Because when you open it up for online applications, you're not just dealing with local people, but you're getting applications from all over the world, and people that may not even live in the same country as the job you're offering. They may not even have the option to visa, and yet they're going to apply for your company anyways. Now, that kind of cute patsy groveling on your knees to the boss man who your family's been friends with their entire life, basically, that may be acceptable in small town. That shit doesn't fly when you talk about large corporations and cities. I mean, that kind of stuff gets you looked down upon, you make a fool of yourself, and in worst case, you even get kicked out of the building. And I'm talking from experience here, having actually printed off my resume and taken it to companies that I wanted to work for. And you go in there, and what they have is they have the really nice main office area. They have some woman or man at the front desk who's manning it, and they're like a roadblock to the company. And you give them their resume, they say, no, we don't take resumes in person, you have to apply online. And you say, okay, well, what positions do you have? Oh, okay, well, you have to look it up online. Okay, well, I already did that. I went online and I applied, and I didn't hear anything back from you guys. Well, in that case, you're probably not going to be accepted anyways. We're not looking for people at the moment. And they make excuses and all this other stuff. And so you get this roadblock every single time you go into these companies and these businesses. You try to give them your resume and say, look, I'm here, I'm ready to work. And they say, no, we have a process. And the process is you apply online. And it could be through Indeed, or it could be through LinkedIn, LinkedIn, it could be through their main website, but they just don't take resumes in person anymore. And if you try to stand there and fight with the person at the front desk, then it only, at best case, irritates them, and at worst case, they may call security and get you kicked out of the building, because you don't have a reason to be there, and they only want people who have a specific purpose to be there. So if you've applied online and they've contacted you and they've asked you to come out for an interview, then that's great. But everybody else who doesn't have an explicitly need to be in the building for any purpose, then, like I said, it irritates them and it just bothers them. They've got work to do and other things to consider and worry about, and so they're not really going to care that you're there to prove that you're able to work. Anyways, that's the end of my rant on that, and it's not necessarily Indeed's fault. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other resources out there, but let's be serious, it's totally Indeed's fault that this is the way things now operate in the world. But pertaining to the actual website itself, I'll just flip over here now to my desktop, and we'll take a look at the website. So you search Indeed, take the first link here, Indeed.com. Now, I live in Canada, so you should take a note of this, that this is mostly for the States. So type in Vancouver, and it comes up here with Vancouver, Washington. Well, no, I want Vancouver, British Columbia. So if that's the case, if you're not living in America, go under countries here, and you're going to have to find your specific country that you want to get employment. And then so you go Canada, and then if you type in Vancouver here, it should pop up, yeah, Vancouver, BC, just like that. And so one of the things that I'm going to show you right now, the problems with the website itself on Indeed, has to do specifically with the lack of categories of jobs. So for example, I'll go remote here, just we'll do that, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you type in software developer and you search that up, you can see that there is 13 jobs. But if you type in software without the developer, you can see that there's 64 jobs now listed. And so we can take this further. Let's go computer programmer. So we'll punch that in, search that up. And so now there's just 2 jobs. And so these jobs are all essentially the same. It's not necessarily like I'm using specific keyword identifiers like full stack and back end and front end and C++ or Java. It's not like I'm using specific computer related terms. I mean, computer programmer, software developer, we'll type in software engineer here. They're all essentially the same thing. And yet, because there's a lack of categories, at least there's not flags, so the software engineer now has 18 jobs. And so because none of these jobs are put together with categories, it's like you can punch in all these different things, and there's going to be this disjunction between what you find and what jobs could possibly be out there. Now, the second problem I'm going to show you here has to do with the fact that certain words can mean different things in different industries, and that's not necessarily Indeed's fault. Here I'm showing you software engineer. I'm sticking mostly to software because that's the background and the experience that I have, but I'll flip over to my other tab here where I looked up programmer. Now, programmer to me means somebody who sits on the computer and types code all day long. They program things. But programmer also means like project manager and somebody who develops programs, curriculums for education maybe. So you type in programmer here with a remote job, and the first thing that pops up is field survey technician. And so you can look through here at the description, but I'm fairly certain that this has nothing to do with computers and coding. The next one down here is project statistician. And again, I don't think this has anything to do with programming. And so that's just one of the problems as well, is that different terms mean different things to different people. And because they don't have those categories to say, oh, I'm looking in the computer industry, or I'm looking in the education industry because I want to write programs for students in their curriculums, then you get this mix of jobs together that have nothing to do with each other, all because one key word is matched between the job posting. And so, I kid you not, I've actually found job postings before where I was looking for programmer or something. I don't remember the specific keywords I was using, but it had to do with computers and software. And I was finding like truck driver with a class 2 license in the listing of things because there was maybe one word in the post that had been flagged, and all kinds of other strange things where you look up software and you find things for sales and marketing. Well, a software developer doesn't really necessarily have those sales and marketing skills either. And so I'll show you what I mean here. If I flip back to the main website here, I'll punch in Vancouver, BC as the location now, and let's go student software. And you're a student looking for maybe an intern position, co-op job, and so yeah, they have co-op and summer intern stuff here listed, but then you scroll down and you find this, help wanted, nutrition hut. And so let's click on that. Now, it probably got flagged because it was a student, but the student software means you're looking for a student software job, and like I say, help wanted, nutrition hut. And so you get that weird stuff that's thrown in there amongst everything else. Now, another problem with Indeed is it doesn't seem to understand what co-op intern type jobs are. It doesn't seem to know that they are explicitly different than every other type of employment, because you're probably a student who's in school, maybe taking time off during the summer, maybe taking time off from school to go and do those jobs, and maybe you're not even being paid if you're an intern. And so I go to this other tab, we'll switch over here, type in co-op software. So you've got architect co-op here, you've got intern flagged here, new graduate, but then you scroll down, you find this, senior test developer. Well, I don't know what the job description says, but 8+ years of experience in software testing. Yeah, I don't think that should be in there. I mean, you search up co-op software, you don't have that senior test developer experience, so why is that in the listing? Now, one of the things that you can do if you find that you're getting these senior level positions thrown in amongst everything else is you can actually add the flag minus senior to the listing. So it currently has 13 jobs, but if you put the minus senior into the listing, now it eliminates 4 of them, which means that 4 of those jobs in that 13 of the total jobs had something in them that probably said senior, or that you needed to have 5, maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10 or more plus years of experience. But those just shouldn't be included in the first place because you're co-op, which means you're probably a student. Now, one of the other issues that I've had while using Indeed jobs is over here, the difference between sort by relevance or sort by date. So currently we're sorting by relevance, but as you can see the actual days on here, the first one up here was listed 29 days ago, and then there's one that was 9 days ago, 30+ days ago, and so 30+ is the largest that they have on that. It doesn't go above that, but that could be 60 days, that could be 90 days ago. I haven't posted anything myself because I'm not an employer, so I don't know if there's an expiry date on those, but I've actually found several of these listings that are right at the top there because they have maybe 156 positive reviews with an average 4-star rating of the company, and then you actually follow the links and go through all of the steps to get to the actual application, and you find out that that company is not even hiring for that position anymore. Like, this job just isn't available anymore, and so they may have updated their main website, but the listing still appears on Indeed. Now, I'll just show you guys here the process of an actual job application through Indeed. This kind of goes back to my point before, that it's so easy to apply for jobs using Indeed that you can just send out hundreds a day, and as a result, all of these companies get this swarm of resumes coming in, and you may get lost in that huge heap. You may actually be a very good candidate who just doesn't get seen because you have all these other people applying because it's so easy to apply, and so you get this oversaturation in the job market. And so click on some of these jobs, for example. Many of these, because they're co-op jobs, probably you have to apply through your school or online, but I found this one here. We'll go junior embed software developer for Fortinet. So click apply now. Bring up a little thing here. You've already put all your information in there, your phone number. Click go, click apply. Boom, you're done. And so you do that 100, 200, maybe 300 times a day. And so I don't know if I'll ever hear back anything from them. Probably not. I don't know if I'd even want the job if they did send it to me. And so you get this weird thing where the jobs are so easy to apply. It's like a paradox. They're so easy to apply to that nobody ever gets an opportunity to hear back on the jobs that they actually sent out, their resume. Now, one of the cool things, though, that Indeed does have, if you scroll up at the top here and you click on Find Salaries, is they have reports on just about every company that exists. You can go and you can search up the company names. You can just scroll down here and have a look for yourself at some of the companies that are being offered. And so, let's say, for example, you want to, let's go Tim Hortons, a real Canadian company here. Search this up. Tim Hortons. So it takes you here. They have like a profile page where you can follow them. They've got snapshots and they've got salaries. 18,300 salaries that are reported. You can scroll down. They have this nice little bell curve thing that shows you kind of the average, the upper on each specific job, like baker, food service associate, cashier, and so you can look at that. But then you come over here, and so you want to work at Tim Hortons. Click on jobs. There are currently no job opening, or there are currently no open jobs at Tim Hortons. Like, okay, where? Anywhere? In Vancouver? In Canada? I highly doubt that there are no job openings in all of Canada for Tim Hortons. So I don't know where those jobs are, but they're not on Indeed. And so as you can see, Indeed actually has quite a lot to offer, but I think there is a lot that is holding it back as well. And now some of that, like I said, is software related issues with bugs. Some of that is just the way that society has transitioned because of websites like Indeed. But who knows? And so I guess if you want, maybe leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think. Maybe there's some other issues that you noticed yourself with Indeed and certain quirks and issues, bugs maybe with the software that you were able to pick up on that I wasn't able to find. And so if you find those, let me know. And if I get enough, maybe I'll do a second part video on what's wrong with Indeed.com. Thank you for watching. Bye.